you for sparing all of us a recitation of what I did for you in the county government a decade ago. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you and the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships. That's about Jobs for the Future, Bard College, wonderful friend from Delaware State University, Dr. Alton Thompson, who's here to talk about what Del State is doing in this field that I'm very excited about. And I just want to also say at the outset a word of thanks to Rich Bird, who is my tireless, engaged, and effective education policy LA. It really is the origin of all these ideas. I'm just thinking I can skip this. If I could, everyone who's made the trip to be here today from around the country, whether the education sector, the private sector, the public sector, thank you for your interest in this. I really think that we have a fundamental challenge in the United States as we continue to recover from the worst recession in living memory, or at least in my living memory. Worst recession in 2 generations. I hope, will focus anew on skills gap, on high school completion, and college attendance. As we look back, unemployment segmented sharply based on education level in the depths of the recession, and opportunities going forward is segmented sharply based on education level. Kids who finish high school and who attend college, some college, have a dramatically higher chance to go on and to live a successful life and to be fully employed and pursue their dreams. And in my view, if we don't meaningfully address the lack of access to higher education, we are missing what is an opportunity issue, an economic issue, and in many ways a fundamental civil rights issue. So we need everybody here. We need the private sector, the nonprofit sector, government sector at all levels to pull together and try and find an innovative solution to this challenge. As someone who is the son and grandson of classroom teachers, as a parent myself, I have no problem believing that education is worth investing in. And from my own earliest days, where I was going to go to college and what was important about college and why college was valuable was sort of drilled into me. But I had an experience over many years, I'll share with you briefly, that helped reinforce for me that that really is not the norm. That for a very wide range of Americans, the idea that college is for them and that the pathway to actually affording it and access to college is not clear and is often full of quite a few hurdles and challenges. We've long enjoyed being a global leader in opportunity in the United States, but as some of you may know, that opportunity has significantly diminished, and there are countries all over the world now where the doors of opportunity are actually open wider than they are here, where they are more likely to live out the sort of classic vision of the American dream than Americans. So the experience I referenced was roughly 20 years I spent with a nonprofit organization called the Ivy Dream Foundation. I helped launch 2 different chapters, one in Connecticut, one in Delaware, and worked for the national office for a number of years and served on the national board for more than a decade. It's a program that touched more than 15,000 students, children, all over the country in more than 150 chapters in just about every state at some point. It was based on a very simple idea and a fairly simple and spontaneous act, mainly Gene Lang from New York City, who had himself grown up in Harlem in the depths of the Depression, was a child of immigrants and had no resources with which he might ever go to college, had gone on to be a very successful businessman and philanthropist, and was invited to come back and give a commencement address at the 6th grade, the middle school from which he had graduated, PS 121. And as he was giving a speech about you can do it, and America's this land of opportunity, and look at me, and it's possible, he was looking at a bunch of very bored and very disconnected kids who were sitting in exactly the same seats. I've been at the school. It's exactly the same seats that he had been in. And reflecting on his own life, he realized that but for the coincidence of meeting a Swarthmore College trustee when he was working as a busboy, and but for chatting that guy up and kind of winning his way into an interview and then winning a total scholarship, he wouldn't have had that opportunity either. And that he didn't believe that college was possible for him when he was sitting in those same seats. And he wouldn't have known, didn't know, and his family didn't know, that there were things that would come in the future that are available today, like Pell Grants. We spend billions of dollars on Pell Grants to make higher education accessible to young people all over this country, but we don't tell them at an age where they can change behaviors and choices and actions and investments to respond to that. So he did something spontaneous. He said to this whole class of kids, look, there are these things out there that make college accessible, but you've never met them. You don't know who Pell is. You don't know what the New York State Empire Scholarship is, and Pell's not about to walk into this room, but I'm here. And I've lived this journey myself from that seat to where I am now. So I will pay for your college education. I will pay for your college tuition. if you can't get scholarships or grants from somewhere else. And then I want you and your parent to come meet me in my office. I'll give you a letter, and I want you to know that that door is open, that that door is not closed to you. Well, people, when they recovered, concluded that he wasn't drunk or crazy, that he was in fact the man he said he was. It was initially that story of that promise that got a lot of coverage, but what actually changed lives in that individual group of kids he worked with, and the ones I worked with in Delaware and Connecticut and in a dozen states across the country, was the persistent engagement of highly motivated parents and mentors and teachers who changed their attitude and believed college was possible for a group of kids for whom they didn't really think it was possible. It's something I think we need to address clearly, that across our country, subcultures, pockets of kids get the message every single day, you can't possibly afford college, and it's largely true. The opportunity to afford college is increasingly getting beyond our reach, regardless of state programs like the Inspire Grant or the Seed Scholarship in Delaware, or federal programs like the Pell Grant. The cost of college is gradually getting out of the reach of any middle-class family, let alone those who don't have significant savings. So at the end of the day, one of the challenges we face is figuring out how we're going to help kids make that transition. The young people I worked with in my Ivy Dream class faced a number of points that were huge drop-offs in our system in Delaware, from 4th to 5th grade, from 8th to 9th grade, and then after 12th grade. Students are assumed to be capable of just sort of finding their own path. And it's particularly at the end of high school that that path is not well laid out and not well articulated, particularly for those without individual college savings or a family experience in college attendance. Now, the cost of college education is one of the fastest growing things in our economy. When I started college, I date myself, in 1981, a year at a private college cost about $6,000. Today, that would be a bargain. It's up over $40,000 today, and for a child born today, it's projected to be more than $75,000. If and when they get there. So can you imagine actually being able to get your head around as a parent, spending $300,000 for an undergraduate degree at a private college? It is, literally. I can see on several faces unthinkable as folks are briefly reflecting on it. Yeah, I really haven't saved enough. So it's bad enough that there are environmental and cultural and community messages about colleges for you. But when you reinforce this steadily accelerated price tag, I just don't know how we really deal with it. Well, I think the idea being debated and discussed today, early college and high school, dual enrollment programs are a creative way to do that. If you look at a kid's academic trajectory, knowing early on, knowing in middle school and high school, that it can go seamlessly into college, I think can make an enormous difference. And demonstrating that it can be done inexpensively or possibly at no cost is an enormous potential impact. Just yesterday, I was in a meeting at the White House where the Chief of Staff and the head of the Council of Economic Advisors, the head of the National Economic Council, we're saying that higher education affordability and accessibility is one of the single biggest challenges we have to face as a country. I know the President's budget emphasizes the importance of dealing with the college achievement gap and the college attendance gap. I think the solutions that you're going to be talking about today are going to make very real progress in this direction. Let me just cite one quick example. Sussex Technical High School in Georgetown, Delaware, where A.J. Lathbury, who's the school superintendent, is a dear friend and has talked a great deal about what difference it makes when you help high school students envision a college experience for themselves. You don't, and not expect them to finish high school and then sort of go off and find it, perhaps with one guidance counselor for 200 students. But instead, let them experience it in their school. Sussex Tech is launching a dual enrollment program in the state. It is a partnership with Widener University to offer students the opportunity to graduate not only with a full high school degree, but 30 college credits and a technical certification that will allow them to go right into employment. That's 30 college credits delivered in the comfort and support system of a high school community, but for free, which is a remarkable head start should they choose to then go on to a full 4-year degree. More than half of their senior class has enrolled prospectively in this program. So I think the enthusiasm, I think the interest is there. I think all of you, and certainly Del State, have exciting and promising models that you're going to talk about today. Help us help you sort this out and find advocates and sponsors. Dual enrollment programs, early college, high schools, I'm convinced have enormous potential. I intend to introduce in this Congress the Fast Track to College Act, which I worked on in the last Congress with former Wisconsin Senator Herb Kohl. This helps create the federal competitive grant pool that would accelerate the actual implementation of dual track or dual enrollment in early college high school. It authorizes 6-year grants to partnerships of school districts and institutions of higher education to support new or existing early college high schools and dual enrollment programs. We want students to be able to earn a high school diploma and 1 to 2 years of college credit in a way that is relevant to future employment and that will give them an associate degree tuition-free. This bill also authorizes multi-year grants to states to provide for planning, for technical assistance, community outreach, data collection, and other support services. So it creates both the funding for the partnerships that deliver the educational experience and for states to manage and conduct the oversight. This is approaching the challenge both directly and indirectly, and I think it is a great one. I am proud this bill has the endorsement of the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, Jobs for the Future at Bard College, and I'm very hopeful that working together, we will find a broad range of co-sponsors. We will get it taken up and considered in the Senate of the United States and ultimately passed into law. This is an idea with power and lift whose time has come. So thank you for convening today to talk about it. Thank you for your support and encouragement, and I'm very excited to get moving on the implementation of this program across the entire United States. Thank you very much.
I could invite my panelists to come up and join me now. Thank you very much, Senator Coons, for your leadership and for inspiration. I've loved the stories from that and your great foundation. I didn't want to keep him, so I didn't do much in the way of introduction previously, but I'm Adam Lowe, Executive Director of the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships. Senator Coons mentioned our partners today, but in the future, we've got Catherine Young here, who's Director of Federal Policy, and Sarah Botstein from Bard College, which operates in early college high school. Very committed to this as well. You can hear me all right? No. Is that better? Still not? Oh. Okay. I wanted to, before I introduce you to our panelists who are going to really legally come here today to learn about the very specific features of their programs and the benefits to their programs, the unique models that they do, I wanted to give a bit of an overview, a landscape perspective on dual concurrent enrollment in rural high schools around the country. And I wanted to just quickly start by talking about this, which is oil and vinegar. And for many people, this is their perspective on high school and college. What is oil, what is vinegar? And they never meet. There's this big dividing line there that even if you shake it all up and try and mix things up, resorts back to its natural tendency to be two very different systems. What you're going to hear about today are programs that are bridging that divide and are really working to create that seamless transition that Senator was talking about. And I was particularly moved by his story of that sort of aha moment that the student had. The research even supports this. There's a national study that looked at student success in dual enrollment and found in particular that aha moment really does exist. They had surveyed students while still in high school of what their college aspirations were, what their plans were. And of those students who took a dual enrollment class but had not identified as going on to achieving a bachelor's degree, those students who took that class were 12% more likely to earn that bachelor's degree later on down the road than students who didn't take that class but had identified that they wanted to get a bachelor's degree. So there is that aspirational change. There's something in the sociology of understanding your capabilities and your potential future trajectory. This barrier is, however, too real for too many students. And even if they cross that barrier, then they often face difficult costs and other barriers that prevent them from seeing through completion. This here is Joliet Junior High School. And I put this up there because, Joliet High School. In 1901, this was the home to the first community college in the nation. The University of Chicago saw the rapidly changing demographics of students entering higher education At that point, fewer than 2% of college-age youth were going on to college. Higher education was reserved for an elite few individuals. And so the University of Chicago said, we're going to try and do something different and bring college out to the community. Whether or not this was the first early college high school or not, I will speak to the historians. But what they did here was intentionally realize that we have to adapt to our changing demographics. And I think it's very much parallel to what we're facing today. Bringing college to students in your home community is critical if we're going to achieve our goals for college transition and college success. I wanted to define terminology quickly. A recent survey of states found that the term dual enrollment is used in 22 states, the term concurrent enrollment is used in 15 states, and the term dual credit is used in 18 states. Now, if you're good at math, you realize that that's up to more than 50. That's because terminology in this field is all over the map. States, programs, institutions all use different terms. And so I use the term dual enrollment to quite simply refer to programs that allow high school students to take college courses and earn that college credit. Typically, they're also earning high school credit for that course as well. We at NASEP use the term concurrent enrollment to refer to the particular model where that course is delivered out in a high school and taught by a high school instructor. Okay? That instructor has to meet the same credentialing standards that a college or university has for instructors on campus, and we provide professional development, curricular, and assessment resources. There are other models programs where high school students will travel to the college campus, programs where the college faculty will move out to the high school campus, distance education, and as an umbrella organization, the National Alliance for Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships are 250 colleges and universities, our 50 school districts, and state agency partners. All are involved in multiple models, so it's an umbrella organization. We encompass all those models for an accreditation peer review process. We define concurrent enrollment and stuff like that. Note that it is distinct from advanced placement and international baccalaureate. Those are opportunities where students have the potential to earn college credit by scoring well on an exam and then matriculating later on to a college or university that might retroactively award them that credit. Early college high schools were an innovation that Barnard College and a number of other leaders going back over a decade ago now created structured pathways for students to take dual enrollment classes, and particularly focused on underserved student population and the potential to earn an associate's degree or up to 2 years of transferable college credit. You can see small schools, they sometimes feature STEM or career pathways, and there are now 250 around the country, sort of a formal network, and probably another 100 to 200 that have implemented some aspects of the model and provide comprehensive academic and social supports to students. I wanted to just quickly run through a little bit of the national data that's recently came out from the National Center for Education Statistics. Brand new data. We're thrilled to have some understanding now of the current landscape for enrollment. 4 out of 5 high schools do offer the opportunity for students to take college courses. Okay, that's a rapid increase in the last few years. We can see in terms of enrollment now, 10% of high school students nationwide are taking a college course. That the vast majority of those students are juniors and seniors, and so we're really looking at perhaps close to 20% of those juniors and seniors. In some states like Iowa, 50% of high school students are graduating having taken at least one college course. We continue to see rapid growth throughout the country in every state. And in particular, the growth is happening in higher minority schools. So schools with greater than 50% students who are ethnic or racial minorities, having above average growth, as well as urban schools and rural schools. And to some degree, that's because those schools perhaps have a lower base where they're starting with that.
We're seeing a lot of growth these days, a lot of priorities from states as they invest in these programs. Where these courses happen, the vast majority of students have the ability to take these classes
in their own high school setting. And when I say high school, I'm also referring to career centers, area career centers that are operated by the school districts, as we consider secondary school locations. A sizable number are coming to the college campuses, and this really depends on logistics and geography. In largely rural states, it can be quite a distance to get to the closest college campus, and therefore the logistics of getting there is just insurmountable. A small but growing percent delivered through distance education, not yet They're in significant numbers, but programs are definitely investing in them. Career technical education, as the Senator mentioned, is a very important component of this. Nationwide, we see 30% of student enrollment in career technical education courses. In some states, even higher. Some very strong career technical programs. And then lastly, the types of institutions involved in this. Bard College, representing a quarter of the private institutions, nonprofit institutions of higher education. And about a quarter coming from the public four-year universities, as well as half really from community colleges. In some states, it's very exclusively for community. With that, I want to get off the podium and turn it over. Next on our agenda is President Pickens from St. John's River State College. In addition to his leadership at college, he prior to coming to college, served in the Florida House of Representatives, where he was the author and the champion of some college and career readiness legislation in the state of Florida, which is dramatically influenced those programs.
Well, thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure. It's working for me, for sure. It's a pleasure to be here today. So what is a Republican former state legislator from Florida and now college president doing in Washington, talking about a bill that is filed by a Democrat senator from Delaware? Well, it's because educational opportunity isn't, nor should it be, geographical, nor should it be partisan. Opportunities for young people and not so young people to advance themselves beyond the high school diploma is something that, again, shouldn't be partisan, should be something we can all agree on, no matter where we live or what our background or political party is. And so that's why I'm here to support this legislation. This legislation represents a number of things. Acceleration, sure, but also experience and exposure to things that many students would not be exposed to or experienced were there not programs like dual enrollment in the states that have it. It's very interesting to me. I've never met Senator Coons, but it was amazing to me. All of the things that he said resonated with all of the things that I have observed as a state legislator, as a former school board attorney, and now as a college president, as it relates to opportunity and, more importantly, the lack thereof, or perceived lack thereof, by certain segments of the population that we serve at St. John's River State College. Opportunity should be for everyone, and the provisions of this bill would certainly benefit all students, but it would benefit lower income students more. It would benefit students that were first generation in college more. It would benefit the students that aren't getting the message at home or at school that Senator Coons got from his parents as he described it growing up. Every class taken in high school represents, or every class taken through dual enrollment in high school represents a number of things, and again, Senator Coons mentioned these too. For me, it represents, for many, maybe in many instances, for most of these students, dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment represents a class and credit that does not consume Pell Grant. It does not consume student loan money. It does not consume subsistence money that everyone needs. We talk to 8th graders before they go into the 9th grade. We bring every 8th grader in Putnam County, Florida, onto the St. John's River State College campus to talk to them about the things that Senator Coons talked to you about as well. That college is an opportunity for everyone. That college should be an expectation for everyone, not just a hope or a dream. And that college is a realistic goal for every 8th grader moving into the 9th grade. And for those that think they can't afford it, those are the ones that have the most opportunity for assistance, as Senator Coons mentioned, in the form of Pell Grants and other things. We talked to them about curriculum alignment. Imagine that, a college president and his staff talking to 8th graders about curriculum alignment and why it's important to think about the classes that you're going to take and the track that you will engage in, not just in the 12th grade, when, oh my goodness, I better start thinking about college or what I'm going to do after the 12th grade, but when you're in the 9th grade, so that by the time you get to the 12th grade, you've made all the decisions that you need to make. Well, they start keeping score for real in the 9th grade. And 8th graders going into the 9th grade need to know that then, not have that explained to them when they're in the 12th grade, which is often the case. Sometimes it is just a matter of communicating. Who knew that Strother Martin in 1965 and Movie Cool Hand Luke had the secret to many of the issues that we have, and that is what we've got here is a failure to communicate. Communicating the things to all young people that Senator Coons mentioned about the opportunities that dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment create for all students in all states, I think is a wonderful message and one that I am happy to support. In Florida last year, and as Adam explained to you, the different delivery methods, in Florida we do all 5. We have college students taking college classes on our college campus with a college professor. We have college professors that go to high school sites and teach a class there. We have credentialed high school teachers teaching college classes on the high school site, but SACS, our accrediting agency, considers them to be our professors for the purposes of that class. And we also have some early high schools and certainly through online instruction. So Florida runs the gamut of all the ways that students can receive dual enrollment credit while they're still in high school. So much so that in Florida last year, the 28 Florida college system institutions delivered over $50 million in tuition-free college credit to high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors. That's $50 million in tuition-free college credit that were it not for the dual enrollment program, somebody would be paying for it. Whether it's a parent or a student, whether it's out of their own money or borrowed money or through government assistance money, somebody would have paid that. The opportunity through legislation like this to expand that opportunity beyond the $50 million that is currently being done in Florida is an opportunity that Florida embraces and one that we hope Congress of the United States will also embrace so that we create more opportunities for more students. And last, I would say that given that the district that I represent in the college is very diverse, St. Augustine and St. Johns County is certainly more urban and certainly much more affluent than Putnam County. In Putnam County, where my office is and where I grew up, and I went to public school, many of you know about Title I schools. Putnam County is a Title I district. Every school in the district, every facet of what Putnam County does as a public school system qualifies for that title status. This opportunity would allow more dual enrollment classes to be taught in classes where there were only 6 students, or maybe only 4. The impact that this could have in rural areas where the classes don't, quote, make, close quote, as my business officer would describe, is an opportunity that every child deserves. As a college president, I don't believe it's fair that if you live in a very populated area where there are a lot of dual enrollment students that classes make, then you can take that class. And if you live in a rural area, then you just don't get that opportunity. In Florida, at least on paper, every student is supposed to have an equal educational opportunity. Legislation such as this will bridge the financing gap between what resources the state college has and the state legislature has with what resources are actually needed to create a genuine, equitable, and fair academic opportunity for all students, especially in Florida, but in every other state. So Adam, thank you for inviting me here, and again, I thank Senator Coons for filing this legislation. I look forward to working with everyone on it.
And we will have questions at the end, so let's make sure we get through each of our presentations. Next up, we've got Dr. Alton Thompson, who's the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at Delaware State University. Prior to joining Delaware State in 2010, he'd been Professor and Dean of Agricultural Programs at North Carolina in the State University. Thank you.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Again, I'd like to thank Senator Coons for inviting me this morning. It's great to be here. As well as the first comments of Senator Coons that really dedicated him on my speech. That's what condensed my speech. I guess in the same state, you know exactly what I want to say. And I also like to associate myself with the comments of Adam Lowe, the Executive Director of the National Alliance for Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, as well as President Pickens, also associate my comments with his program. Again, this is a great program, a great opportunity. I'm delighted to be here to talk about the early college high school aspect of the bill. And also, the ability to express my unequivocal support for the Fast Track to College Act as we move forward. I'm sort of preface my comments by saying that Delaware State University was founded in 1891 May as a land-grant university. So it's a land-grant college that was established on May 15, 1891 to offer educational opportunities to African Americans who were not permitted to go to the larger institutions or the other entities in the state of Delaware. So the interesting thing about the early college high school is that in 1916 to 1917, there was a model high school on Delaware State's campus. Again, we had African Americans go to college in King County, so we had a set of high schools on campus. Then 4 years later, they actually awarded a high school diploma on the college of Delaware State University. So from 1917 to 1951, there was a high school on campus. And that building is still there. It's still on campus, still on campus. So in 1957, when when integration happened, the early high school college, the high school closed, and African Americans were allowed to go to other entities in Kent County. So the point of that is, since in the early 1900s, Delaware State University had a high school on campus. So, and our charter for the early college high school will be the first early college high school in the state of Delaware. So it's the first early college high school in the first state. Excited about that. And so I also returned to our history. Think about so having a high school in 20, actually started high school in 2014. So it gets us back to the history of the university. Like the high school started in the early 1900s. So the campus is excited about it, both the faculty, given the initiative for having a early college high school on campus. So we're excited the opportunity has come to be back on campus. Again, the university is one of the premier historical black college universities in the nation. We're excited about that. So as we move forward programmatically, the high school curriculum for this early college high school will be fully integrated into the college curriculum as we move forward. Also, so as we move forward, this will be a tremendous opportunity for us. I'd like to focus on my comments on the motivation for starting this early college high school in terms of the brief description of the early college high school model that we plan to implement at the university, as well as relates about the funding challenges we sort of anticipate during our planning year. First of all, as alluded to earlier, the Delaware State University had a proud tradition of offering excellent post-secondary education at the collegiate level, particularly as it relates to science. As a land-grant university, we started by focus on mechanical arts, which is now engineering, as well as science and agriculture. So the food and agricultural sciences, engineering sciences, the life and natural sciences are part of this curriculum. The early high school college we plan to start will be a STEM-focused high school. Essentially, also it would essentially be attracted to students who are first in their college, first in their families to attend college, as well as students from underrepresented population and underserved communities. Typically, we expect that the student profile of the high school, early college high school, will sort of mirror the profile of our current students. So this mission of this early college high school is very consistent with the mission of the land-grant university in terms of access and opportunity. It's very consistent with our science focus in terms of STEM. It's very consistent with our new vision and new core values for the university. So as the board of trustees see this high school is functionally integrated into the college environment. Again, the private place is very important, sort of demystifies the college experience and gives everyone an opportunity to go to college. And so this offers an educational opportunity to Delawareans. We're excited about that in terms of the opportunity it offers. It also allows students to again complete a high school diploma while on campus, as well as earning up to 60 college credits. So think about it in terms of the course think about access and opportunity and affordability. So if you think you can go to college and only pay one half of tuition, it's quite an opportunity. And also the transition from high school to college will be easier because of the transition between high school and college is now demystified. And also in terms of working on the aspect of college readiness as opposed to college eligible is now it's a key concern, so it's a best concern as well. So again, it's affordable, it's accessible, and also bridge the gap between high school and college. In terms of the model, the second point is the model that we plan to implement. Before planning an early college high school, we went through extensive research in terms of what models are available. Essentially, we saw at the moment, we sort of agree on the model that Bill and Linda Gates started about a decade ago, about early college high school. And also, so replicating also the very successful AidWorks program. AidWorks has a program they call successful, that's called Fast Track Early College Model. Essentially, it's a portfolio of proven high schools around the country to be very successful in taking students from low-income areas and underserved communities. So the motivation is I can decrease my college cost by 50%. And instead of showing that it increased the academic rigor of the program, along with the motivation of increasing the cost, the students will rise to those expectations. So that's what we are. So that's the model we chose. And it's a STEM high school. It's a full high school. We're not getting as much pushback from the schools in the district as we would expect, because we're talking about 400 students. We have about 27,000 students in the area that would be eligible to go to this high school. When we're talking about 400 when the school for the tours. We start off next year with 100 students, and then we increase incrementally each year from another 100 and so forth. Total 100 to 400. The other thing, we're not getting too much pushback because we're not just taking the cream of the crop, we're taking all the students. So we're not going to high schools taking the best students, all right, for this high school. And we also have special needs components as well. So it's a fully functioning high school, and they're not generally now supported either. However, they're not opposing it, which is good. So we take that. So also as consistent with our land mission, once the students, particularly the first 2 years that we take the Colorado high school classes, but we would like them to require them to take at least one college class during that first year and second year. And once they finish their second year, they then go into 3 tracks, 3 pathways. One is for forensic biology, one is community health, and the other is agribusiness. So that's sort of the tracks. Again, the project-based learning is going to be key to the pedagogy, and project-based learning is going to be key, as well as hands-on and technology application will be very important for this high school. Again, once they graduate, then we have the Delaware State University transcript, we have a high school diploma, and then up to 60 transfer credits as they go on to their finish their career. The challenges, as mentioned earlier, of course, is finance. When the charter was approved in May 2012, then the option started in August 2013 or August 2014. So when we started planning the high school, it was about $750,000 in federal funding to start up a charter school. This is a public charter high school. So I don't know what happened, but the money just dried up. So the money sort of disappeared on us. So we said we're going to move to 2014, take a year of planning, and also look at some additional funding and get this stuff. So that's what we did. So in terms of this Fast Track to College Act, I think it's very timely for the early college high school at Delaware State University, and that's needed for our students. Again, the key thing, I guess, 3 aspects of this bill that hopefully will be debated on the Senate floor and eventually voted into law is the college readiness piece. So we really have listened to the college readiness for the students of Delaware. Again, it will really decrease the cost to students and families. College affordability is a hot topic now, it's a hot issue now. And college affording college is now a very difficult task for our families. And also, it really launches the students into a very successful college career. So we're excited about the bill. This bill has unequivocal support, again, like President Pickens as well as Adam, as well as Senator Coons. And the time is excellent. The other thing about this bill is also imperative. We like to compete, we must compete. So we're looking forward to competing for these funds and really moving the early college high school along. Again, I think as long as you can get the early college high school to be integrated into the fabric of the university, it really accelerates the process, and accelerated learning is also very important. And really allow them to connect the dots and move forward. So again, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the comments as well. I look forward to working on this bill in the future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thompson. Next up, I'm very pleased to introduce Steve Hamilton, who 3 days ago graduated from Smith College with her Bachelor's of Arts in Government and Education, double major. And in addition, she's an alumna of the Bard High School Early College in Manhattan, and native of the Bronx, and really has some, I think, great personal stories to share with us about her experience.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Senator Coons for being willing to introduce this bill and for recognizing the importance of early college high schools to our education system in this country. One thing that I heard everyone mention here is the opportunity that early college high schools will provide students with, and students and their families. And I can say that was certainly true for me when I attended Bard High School, early college, and even beyond. When my family moved here from Jamaica, we moved here, my mother moved here with the intention that I would be able to get a good education and that I would be able to go to college and graduate college. And now we know that's certainly true. I did all of those things very recently, but the road towards making that happen was, of course, harder than she expected it to be. Prior to attending Bard, my elementary and middle school education, I grew up in the Bronx, and I attended a lot of Title I schools. And my academic preparation there was not necessarily as strong as it should have been. So when it was time for me to apply to high school, I knew that I only wanted to attend schools in Manhattan. And as I was flipping through what we get, a high school directory, I came across Bard High School, early college. So at that time, I knew no one who went there. I just had a mission statement and other things, and I said, this is where I wanted to go. So I went through the motions of applying, and I was accepted, one of the happiest days of my life. And when I got to Bard, I knew that it was a special place and that it was a different place, because initially as a ninth grader, and I think I was 13 at that time, I was challenged in ways that I had not been challenged previously, and it was hard because it was an adjustment, something that there were days when I thought I wasn't prepared for this, I wasn't cut out for this, but the small nature of the school, the faculty there that was just willing to not waver in their high expectations for us, made sure that it was something that we could all flourish and thrive in. And the opportunity that Bard created for me to earn not only a high school diploma, but also eventually an Associate of Arts degree in liberal arts was one that I knew would benefit me in the long run, because having completed a degree, I knew that I could look into colleges that I could transfer the credits to. And I did look into a lot of schools that would enable me to do that, that gave me the opportunity to enter as a junior or even as a sophomore. And initially when I applied to Smith, I knew that I thought I would go in as a sophomore, I would transfer some credits, I would place out of some things, but then when I got to Smith, I ended up receiving a full scholarship to Smith for all 4 years, so suddenly the cost was no longer a worry for me, but I knew that Bard provided me with the opportunity to alleviate some of that cost if it was something that I did need to be concerned with. And from a working class family, that is certainly a real issue that not only my family faces, but so many other families around the country face. And at the time that I entered this Smith, the cost to attend Smith was about $55,000 a year. So if I could have cut that in half, that would have certainly been something that I would have taken advantage of if the financial piece was something that I need to be concerned about. And while at Smith, although I didn't accelerate, although I stayed a first year even when they gave me the opportunity to accelerate, I recognized that I entered my college classes at Smith with a different attitude and with a different level of preparedness than my peers were entering. I understood the concept of doing something simple as emailing a professor. I understood the concept of what a syllabus was and what it meant to do 50 to 75 pages of reading each night. I understood how to write 20-page papers because that was one of the things that we had to do in Bard. I understood going to office hours and seeking out resources and asking for help. There were readings that overlapped during my time time at Smith that I was already introduced to at my time at Bard, and already I knew that I was intellectually superior and intellectually more prepared than my peers were. And that's something that I'm forever grateful for, because my 4 years, although Smith is a rigorous institution, it was something that I entered more confidently with, because I had already had not only the 2 years of college at Bard, but the 4 years to get me in the mindset that I could thrive. So it certainly provided me with the opportunity to go to college and to succeed in college. And my realization of that was something that motivated me to not only be interested in government, but also to be interested in education, because I recognize that for far too many families across this country, attending a school like Bard, attending an early college is not something that is available to them, and that is why our workforce struggles. That is why our college completion is struggling. Completion rate in this country there's a struggle, and I think if we continue to implement these programs so that opportunity is not only available to the 400 students that can fit in an early college building, and the one early college in each state, in each city, but if we continue to make these more national programs, then more students will have the opportunities that I did, and more students will have the reality, because I recognize that my education was an exception and it's not the norm, and that is something that we need to fix, and that's something that we need to change. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Glendean. Congratulations again on all your accomplishments and your future plans. Our last speaker is Carroll McGillin, who's a strategic business development manager with Cisco in their education team, where she works with both K-12 and higher education institutions to understand the role that networking can play in transforming education. And with that, thank you very much.
Good morning. It's great to be here, and I think after listening to both all of our panelists ahead of time, all I can say is me too. But just everything that's been shared here. I'd really like to begin my remarks today with a quote from John Chambers, who is the CEO of Cisco, that I think has been key to how Cisco approaches public-private partnerships, and really the way that we run our business. Education and technology are the two greatest social equalizers. Education helps people to improve their economic opportunities, while technology provides access to education. And I think in the U.S., Cisco has had the privilege, really, of partnering with private and public education organizations to deliver programs that contribute to education and use innovative technology to really scale that impact. I think that's the opportunity, the challenge that we have with early college and the dual enrollment programs, and why I think so critical the law and the act that Senator Coons is introducing. I think during today's panel, we've heard about the importance of early college and dual enrollment programs, and I've been asked to look at this through the lens of business. And I guess I'd like to share with you some of what we've learned over the last 15 years of having the honor of partnering with colleges, with high schools, with community-based organizations, over 2,100 of them, through the Cisco Networking Academy program. Because I think one of the things that has come out of that 15 years, and I was thinking about the number of definitions of dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, which I didn't even know about. But hearing all of these different definitions, I think one of the things that I have seen as we've worked with many of you in the audience here and schools in your states and congressional districts is that what has happened, we're at a turning point in education. Let's use this time to learn from the best practices that have come out. I think we've heard about pathway programs, and we've heard about the career technical education programs. Let's really learn from these to begin to synthesize what is best in terms of early college programs and dual enrollments, and what's needed to take them to the next level, in addition to the type of funding requirements. So I think I mentioned to you, Cisco Academy program is Cisco's largest philanthropic CSR program. We partner as a technology education program. We've had the honor, as I said, of partnering with over 2,000 public and private organizations around this program. And I think what's been really critical with those programs, and something that has evolved organically, are dual enrollment programs. And I think right now what we're seeing is a real growth in terms of what does this mean around early college. There's two critical components to this program, and then I want to talk a little bit about the partnership that we have with Chicago Public Schools and their early college program. But within this program of technical education, I think two things have emerged over the last 15 years. One is it's a real focus around technology competencies, but within the framework of pathways. A lot of emphasis that we put around STEM pathways, aligning what's happening in a technology education program to Common Core. You know, you don't want to have a program that somehow is over there, it's for those kids that, you know, can't compete academically. It's a program, and I think the program and the real value of the Fast Track program and of early college is that integration, career and college ready. I don't know who came up with that phrase, but I think it's a very, very important one to say really what's really critical in education right now. So let me take a few minutes, even though that we've been working and we've seen the real power of dual enrollment programs in every single state in the District of Columbia as we've worked with schools through the Cisco Academy program. Let's take a little bit of time to talk about the Chicago Public School Early College Initiative, how industry's involved, why the programs really like this are really seen as critical by business leaders like Cisco. So it's interesting in Chicago, we've had a long-standing relationship in working with Chicago Public Schools. We've had a Cisco Academy program there for quite a number of years. But I think what's been different in terms of the engagement around early college is that the whole structure of the early college program has given, I don't know if we call it a wraparound, it's given a depth of relationships to take this to be something more than just a business partner coming in once a month and, you know, talking in a career day. Even though we still do that, I think it's context. And I think each of our presenters, when you were speaking about, you know, your plans for Delaware State, is that whole idea of having that immersive integration and an immersive view. And I think when you were sharing about your experience at Bard, that same type of thing, it creates a sort of discipline and pace. So what's been happening in Chicago? So in 2012, Chicago Public School launched 5 early college STEM schools. They focus on technology skills, career readiness, and it's a partnership with 5 technology companies, Chicago Public Schools, the city colleges of Chicago, as well as the mayor's office. So again, a structure around pathways, a structure saying it's not just a one-off course, but it's a program that's also highly tied into what does my future look like? How do I tie together college and career readiness? And I think if I were to use 3 words to describe the guiding principles of Chicago's early college program and why Cisco sees so much promise and value in it for helping our students, I'm going to have to borrow a phrase and kind of a vision from Dr. Bill Daggett, which is rigor, relevance, and relationships. Relevance in terms of what we've seen in Chicago, a strong collaboration with the teaching faculty that really embraces working with business partners. We both have something to bring to this engagement. If we're really looking to help our young people, especially at that high school level, think about what does my future look like? How do I shape it? Thinking about what Senator Coons had said about the I Have a Dream. We're looking at those 6th graders who are saying, college? What does that mean? Why should I even think about it? And it's not even potentially cool. Relevance, an integrated college experience, that it's not just a one-off course. And again, I think we heard that very much, you know, from our other panelists. Relationships, so we've talked about rigor, we've talked about our relationships. Building an effective partnership between all the elements in the ecosystem, the community colleges, the 4 years, business, and I think particularly how do we involve our family and our communities in that engagement. Absolutely critical, especially as we're working with students and schools that, you know, I think as you described, you know, in terms of your county, this is Title I. You know, we've got to bring the whole community together in that. And I think the final thing is rigor. So if we talk about relevance, relationships, and rigor, having a standards-based curriculum that's both academically rigorous as well as industry relevant. And that's why I think there's so much promise in the pathways. And again, thinking about what you learned at Bard and coming in terms of, if we have students, we show them the challenge and we help them with a pathway to get there, they're ready and willing to get there and do that. So in Chicago Early College, there are 5 technology companies that are involved: IBM, Cisco, Microsoft, Motorola Solutions, and Verizon Wireless. And we're each working with one school to really develop a unique curriculum to teach students the skills required in the marketplace, as well as providing the mentors and internships. What Cisco's been doing, we're partnering with a school called Michelle Clark. In addition to using the Cisco Networking Academy curriculum as part of their STEM pathway, the partnership includes mentorships. We've got about easy for me to say, 60 Cisco employees who have signed up to be mentors. And I think one of the other things from a business perspective, what's important is this program is giving us a structure and some flexibility to help our employees who really do want to be a part of a program do something more than just show up on one day a year, to really develop that deep engagement relationship. I think one of the other things that we've done is use our industry connections to help students and help the teachers really create cutting-edge, real-world projects, that are focused around real problems that they have to solve, that are meaningful and will make a difference in our world. So while I've highlighted what we've been doing in Chicago in the early college program, what we have seen in every state and the District of Columbia, we've seen high schools and community colleges really leveraging programs like the Academy program. Because it's standard-based, it builds pathways that have really helped facilitate dual enrollment. They've given their relationship with colleges kind of a credibility in terms of how does this really matter, what we're doing, and some standards. And I think it's really helped create a connected learning environment that engages students. So just a couple final things. So why are early college, dual enrollment, and the proposed act so important? Why are they important to companies like Cisco? What are their program elements that are going to lead to success? I think one of the first things that's critical for industry leaders that we see with programs, that one of the benefits coming out of early college is diversity and equity. It's critical for the future of our nation to have a skilled, diverse workforce that knows how to think critically and knows how to collaborate. When students enroll in an early college program where they receive college credit, or perhaps for the first time, not only has no one in their family gone to college, they may not have had parents or family that have finished high school. They begin to see, I can do it. And again, I think exactly what you were sharing. I see a future, I can see my face, in there. I've created in that early college program the framework of support that will help that young person go the next step. I think another thing that's really important is relevancy. I started my career many years ago as a high school history teacher, before the internet, before a lot of things. And I could hear the same thing in my world history class. Why am I learning this? Why is this important? I want to do blah, blah, blah. What relevancy does this have? And I think really for helping our young people, and one of the values of early college is seeing a pathway to career in college helps our low-income students on a journey. The strong industry mentorship programs are absolutely critical. When you think about funding as well, not only what we're doing in Chicago, great programs, for example, out in California State University, Monterey Bay, 3 nearby community colleges, all applied for an NSF grant. Build a career pathway program for STEM. Critical integration and in terms of internship programs. So again, I think that looking at how do we start using this fast track program to build some bridges between some of these other federal programs and state programs is going to be absolutely critical. I think we've also heard the whole issue about making college affordable. The New York Bozies all have very strong dual enrollment programs already in place. We've seen it in Texas, in Florida. We've already talked about the importance there. So absolutely, absolutely critical in terms of making college affordable. And I think the whole issue of remediation and the graduation on time. We joke about as parents, well, my child, the student, my kids are not on the 5-year program, the 6-year program, the 7-year program. I just want them to finish, college. No, I think one of the other things that's very, very important, colleges are telling us 50 to 60% of high school students are needing remediation, by the time they get into college. When you have that type of focused intervention, support, a vision of where I want to go, why it makes a difference, that early college and dual enrollment programs can provide, it makes it a key area of difference. And I think another area for early college, when it's tied into strong pathways and students getting college credit before they get into college, students are coming into college with a sense of intentionality. They have an idea, not just the very practical things of, oh my gosh, where do I even show up? What's a syllabus? And I'm not going to ask that question. They're having a sense of, I have a vision of where I can go. I've started it all on already. I've had some of the support structures that let me know that I can be successful and move forward. And I think finally, one other area that I think is important from a business perspective of why these programs are so critical, things that I've mentioned around ensuring that we have a diverse workforce and have the funnel, if you want to call the pipeline, for people of multiple backgrounds to come in and bring their creativity and their way of thinking into our companies is absolutely critical. The affordability, so that we're not wasting taxpayers' dollars and looking at a better way to get our students on that pathway. And one other area I would say is scalability. How are schools using technology, and it's not just because I'm at Cisco that I'm saying that, but how are we using technology to really scale the best in our early college programs and dual enrollment? We're working, for example, with a number of school districts I know, specifically out in Minnesota, where they've been using immersive video technology to bring those teachers, those college professors into the classroom, but in a sense so that it really is real-time education that's going on. There's one district, and I can't pronounce the district's name, but I promise if you want to know, I'll give it to you afterwards, where they've calculated the dual enrollment for the graduating class of 2012 has saved the parents about $12 million. That's about a district of about 45,000 students 1 year, and that superintendent's goal is that every student within the next 2 years, that high school student will have some dual enrollment behind them. So I think that the best in early college programs like the Chicago STEM program really are creating a learning environment that's hands-on, project-based, and collaborative. That type of learning breaks down the walls between academic and technical. It makes it more relevant to our students. It also is creating the future workforce, the innovators, the risk takers, the people that can work together to build the future of our country. So I think in conclusion, preparing the next generation of students for our workforce is really a critical responsibility for all of us. So that's why acts like this are really important to companies like Cisco. Without skills in science, engineering, math, and technology, innovation cannot advance. And I think going back to what Senator Coons had said early on, we have many other countries in our global economy right now are being viewed as the land of opportunity. That has been our history as a country. We have an opportunity to continue to strengthen that, and I think through programs and the leadership that's being provided, not only here by our senator, but also in terms of the leadership that you all out in schools are providing, are really going to continue to allow us to have more and more students like you. So congratulations again, and thank you. Thanks.
I just want to say a few words about other policies, since our main purpose today is to talk about the Fast Track to College Act. In your handouts, we do have some information about budgetary impacts on enrollment in early college high schools. as well as some federal policy recommendations about the future of our college and the NASAM that generally put together. Catherine, Clara, and I are certainly welcome and interested in happy to talk to you about those other time periods, and contact information is on the front of the